Welcome to Property Pulse with your hosts, Udodiri Elizabeth Anyiaka, a realtor from Keller Williams. And today we are diving into an interesting topic. Very, very interesting because I've had a lot of people who have asked me questions on this topic since I became a realtor. And now I am excited to share with them my journey, inviting my guest speaker, who is also my boss from Keller Williams, a real estate broker. Her name is Tessie Matrone. So the topic today is building a successful career in real estate. So this is the place to be if you are ready to journey into real estate, starting from Keller Williams, Winnipeg, Manitoba. Yes, so we're going to
I'm
ask.
excited to be here, Elizabeth. Thank you for the
Yes.
invitation.
So please, I would like you to introduce yourself so everyone can be able to get to know you. And yeah,
Well,
thank
my
you.
name is Tessie Matrone. I'm the broker owner at Keller Williams Real Estate Services in Winnipeg, Manitoba. We opened the brokerage in 2018 and have grown strong since then. I don't know, how far do you want me to go, Elizabeth?
Please, you can take us as far as you can and
Okay,
bring us back to today. So I have a couple of interesting questions.
okay.
These questions I have are questions that has been asked from my clients, real estate enthusiasts, based on my journey. So based on those questions, I had to come up with the podcast. And because there were too many questions, I didn't know how many I was going to answer and how long it's going to go on. Of course, more questions are going to come. Before you've already given us an introduction of who you are, which we are now ready to dive into our questions. So we're going to start up with a warm-up question. Now, I would like to know what inspired you to start a career in real estate?
Well, that's a little bit of an interesting journey. So I've been in business pretty much my whole adult life, running
Right?
different types of businesses. And it was in about 2005, my husband had a career change. Excuse me. So he found himself moving to Manitoba. We moved our family here, and he got his real estate license. And he got really busy. Really busy. He was so busy that he couldn't handle the amount of work he had. So as a wife, I looked at that and I went, I think I need to help my husband. So it was at that point I decided to get my real estate license, and the only reason I got it then was to help my husband. Okay? So then we fast forward a couple of years, and now we're both really busy, and our business just kind of grew from there. We hired real estate coaches that would help us learn how to navigate our busyness and how to structure it and create systems and models. We grew from there. We got invited to be coaches for that company because we succeeded so well. And then we opened our own independent little brokerage. And everything was good there. It was just my husband and I and an administrative assistant that we had working at the front desk. Then we hired another girl. And then realtors began to come to us and ask if they could work with us. And at first we said no. We're good. We're busy. We're happy the way it is. But realtors kept coming to us and asking. So after a little while, we thought, there must be something to this, right? Because people kept coming to ask. So we did some research and investigation and decided, okay, if we're going to bring realtors on, we have to be able to offer them some sort of value other than just that we know how to do business. So it was at that point that we opened up the franchise Keller Williams, and so that we could provide extensive value to the agents that joined us. So we grew from just the two of us to we're just over 60 agents now working together, and we're having a lot of fun. So, it was a progression. It started with just helping my husband, then I got busier, then I became a certified investor agent. I worked with investor clients, then I got busy. Then I got my broker license. We opened up our own brokerage, and from there grew. So it's been a lot of fun.
Wow. Now, getting into the industry, my other question is, what are the basic steps to qualify, basic step or qualification that is needed to becoming a real estate professional? Because obviously, you didn't just grab the license, right? There were steps. So what are those steps?
Yeah, so it's in Manitoba. It's a self-study course. So there's four
Self-study.
self-study. Yeah, there's four modules that you have to take and pass. So you buy your first module from Manitoba Real Estate Association. And once you buy your first module, you have 16 months from that time to complete all four modules and get licensed. 16 months, yeah. And you pay for each module as you buy it, so you don't have to pay for everything up front. I think the first one is $1,500, and then they're about $1,100 and $1,200 each module after that. And you have to be able to pass multiple choice closed book exam with, I believe, a 70% or higher. So that's the steps to get into real estate. It's not very hard. You have up to 16 months to complete it. Some people do it in 3 months, right? It just depends how much time you're willing to invest in self-study. So when I did it, I was working full time. So I would come home every day after work. I would feed my family, then clear off the dining room table, and I sat down and studied until bedtime. I did that every single day for 3 months, and I got through the entire course. Yeah, but you have to
3
be very
months.
dedicated to that, right? Because
Wow. Even
yeah,
as a mom, you did it
oh,
for
yeah,
3 months.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
That's inspiring.
yeah.
And I think there is a lot of hard work for you to do it within 3 months and pass.
Yeah, it was like I was very diligent in studying every single night. Like I did not miss a night, no matter what. Because you're learning something that's so new, right? There's all kinds of language that maybe you've never heard before, and history, and if you don't study every day, it's really easy to not retain that information. And then you got to start all over again. So, yeah, for me personally, it was just easier for me to study every night and get it done as quickly as I could.
Now, another question. What if somebody who is slow in terms of studying, and let's say they elapse the 16 months, do they get a chance for an extension?
That is a decision made by the Manitoba Real Estate Association. They will allow extensions sometimes depending on circumstances, but that's up to them. I don't know. I do
Okay,
know some people have gotten extensions, but not everyone.
not everyone.
Yeah.
Now, the next question. Can someone start real estate as part-time while transitioning from another career into real estate?
Yes. So you can, okay. It will be challenging for sure. Um, because even if you're in real estate full time, it takes time before you start earning income, right? So you've got to learn all the systems and learn how to write offers and learn how to get everything all set up and in place. And then you have to learn how to generate leads and how to stay in touch with all those leads. You have to learn the language. You have to learn how to handle objections. So it can take upwards of a year before you see your first paycheck. So, yes, you can do it part time, but it is very challenging because you have so much to learn. And I mean, you got to remember you're writing offers for people on the biggest purchases of their entire lives. So they're putting a lot of faith and trust in you, right? So, as a part time agent, you have to be diligent in doing your study because even though you pass the exam, there's still things you have to learn. And a good brokerage will offer that study to you, right? And help you learn what you need to learn.
I believe this is where Keller Williams come in the picture, right?
Absolutely, right? Keller Williams is known as a training company. So we have won so many awards for our training that we're now in the Hall of Fame. So there's a company called the Training Magazine, and they rate companies based on the trainings that they give.
Oh,
So Keller Williams has been rated up in the top 10, top 1% so many times in a row that we're now in their Hall of Fame. So we do have a very, very robust training system if the agents plug into it, right? So something to know as a real estate agent, you are an independent contractor. So
then contractor.
yes,
Oh,
so
that means you are your own business person.
that's right. So no brokerage is going to force you to take the training, right?
Yes.
It's up to you to be disciplined enough to plug in and take the training. So we have that at Keller Williams. Hands down, there is no question about it.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, you're
Now,
welcome.
the next question. What different career opportunities exist within real estate today?
So there are lots of career opportunities. So as a real estate agent, you can specialize in different areas, right? So you can be a first-time home buyer agent. You can be a selling agent or a listing agent. You can be just a buyer's agent. You can be a condo specialist, an investment specialist, a senior specialist, right? So quite often when you narrow down your target audience, right, that is when you pick up business significantly. So in my career, that's exactly what I did. So I started off just working with anybody that came along my way, anyone that I could find. And after a little while, what happened is I found I was working with lots of people that were investors, okay, buying single family, multifamily properties, trying to generate income. So it was at that time I decided, okay, if that's the clientele that keeps coming to me, I'm going to take some courses. So I took courses and got specialized in that. And then I became the professional voice, right? So I began to network with investors and went to their clubs and their groups and began to be their speaker and teaching them about market stats and things like that, that information that they needed as investors. So as a real estate agent, you can specialize in all kinds of different fields like that and build a very unique, rewarding career. What else is there? You can also, oh, and there's commercial as well. I also took seller's representative specialist, accredited buyer representative. So the more training and education you get, the better realtor you become.
Beautiful. Now, how do real estate professionals earn income and what determine success?
Well, first of all, we'll talk about what determines success. Okay? Success is different for every person, right? So it's what you feel is success. If you come into real estate and you just want to be a part-time real estate agent, right? Your idea of success may be different than someone that wants to be in real estate full-time and earn a big income. So success is defined by each individual person. Yeah. What was the first part of that question again?
What do real estate professionals earn in terms of income?
Right. So earning can be anywhere from $0 upwards of $1 million. It
Okay.
there really is no ceiling to what you can earn in real estate. The ceiling is in your time, right? So everything is time versus money. So the amount of time that you can put into your business will determine the amount of income you're going to earn.
Income you
Yeah,
get.
it very correlates.
Okay. Now, what key success or qualities are needed in the real estate industry for realtors?
Okay, well, you have to have people skills. You
People
need to
skill number
like
one.
people, right? If you don't like people, real estate is not for you,
Oh,
right? Because you have to be willing to talk to people and communicate to a wide variety of people. Not everyone has the same personality style, right?
yes.
We all have, there's worldwide, I think there's 4 personalities that psychologists have identified, and 25% of the population fits within each category or type of personality. So as you study, part of studying in real estate is learning personality styles. and then learning to adapt to your audience based on those personality styles. I'll give you a little example, right? So let's say we talk to an analytical person. They really care a lot about detail and numbers. That's really important to them. So when you're talking to them about real estate, you're going to talk in the numbers language, right? So the house
Yes.
is listed at this much. This is how many square feet. This is how many bedrooms. This is what the mortgage will cost. This is the interest rate, et cetera, et cetera. But if you talk to somebody that's more like an amiable personality, right? So they care about other people, they're very they have lots of empathy, they want to make sure the new buyers take care of their home. So then you're going to talk to them about their goals more along that line, right? So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we're going to find the buyer that will love this house and this neighborhood as much as you have, right? We're going to find, so you're going to talk to them in very different ways. So, key quality is being a people's person. Okay, that's so important. I think the second quality that you need is personal discipline.
Personal discipline.
Yes, because again, you're an independent contractor, right? So nobody is making you show up to work at 9 o'clock and punching out at 5, right? So you can spend the whole day and do absolutely nothing if you want. So if you don't have the personal discipline to know that, okay, now this is the time that I need to generate leads and pick up the phone and talk to people, and I'm going to do it every single day no matter what, then you're going to really struggle if you don't have that personal discipline. And then the next thing I think that you need is business sense. Because you are your own business, so you need to kind of understand how business runs. You need to understand profit and loss, right? So you're earning income, what are your expenses, how much profit are you actually making? So if you understand that, even at a very simple level, it would definitely help you succeed. What else? I don't know, strong communication skills, sales and persuasion skills, negotiating skills. But again, you're going to learn a lot of that through the brokerage that you work for. So, but definitely people skills and personal discipline is two of the most important skills that you need to succeed in real estate.
Now, my next question, what is the difference between a real estate agent and a broker?
A real estate agent takes general studies, okay, general learning to become a real estate agent, whereas a real estate broker takes specialized training and education. And a real estate agent, they take care of clients' transactions, okay? The broker, while they may also do client transactions, they also take care of the transactions for the entire brokerage, right? So they own the brokerage. They need a minimum of 2 years of experience or more in order to be a broker. I personally think you should have more than 2 years experience, because by the time you're 2 years, you're just starting to grasp what you're doing, right? A broker is responsible for legal compliance. So there's a lot of legality in real estate that salespeople have to follow. So the broker is responsible to make sure that happens. And they're legally responsible for the entire office. So it's a very, very important role that a broker plays.
So more like they see to the day-to-day activity of the brokerage.
That's right. The day-to-day activity of the brokerage and of each realtor. So when our real estate agents write offers and take listings, the broker reviews everything, makes sure it's legally compliant, and teaches the agents how to do that.
Now, my next question, what are some common challenges or mistakes new agents make?
Probably the biggest challenge is inconsistent income, right? So when you first start, real estate can very much be up and down, okay, up and down as you're learning how to navigate the real estate world. It's not just a steady flat income like maybe your full-time job is, where you get a paycheck every 2 weeks. Real estate is not like that. So the biggest challenge that most people find when they get into real estate is that inconsistent income, and learning how to build a career to get to a place where it is consistent income. Because you can get there, but it's a little bit of a journey to get there. Um, the number one activity that every person that gets into real estate needs to learn to do is how to generate leads. Okay? So yes, you're a real estate agent, but your number one job is lead generation. Because without a lead or a buyer or a seller, right, you're not going to earn any income. So learning how to generate leads, learning how to filter through them, who's actually a serious client, who's not, who's someone we can talk to and continue to follow up with until they're ready to buy or sell. So then looking at that, the other challenge then is often time management, right? Especially if you're working part-time in real estate. So you've got a full-time job, now you've got buyers and sellers that need to go look at properties, and how are you going to navigate that? So time management can often be a very, very big challenge for part-time agents. What else? Chaos. Your real estate world can be chaos. So when my husband and I were both working and we got really busy, when I decided to hire a real estate coach is when we were in chaos. Okay, we had folders and papers piled up all over our office, trying to stay in touch with everybody, keep track of all the conditions and all the paperwork, and we were in chaos. So we needed a coach to come alongside us and take a look at our business and go, okay, I know what you need to do. There's a show that I like to watch all the time. I don't know if any of you watch it. It's called Super Nanny, right? She comes into people's homes and observes them and watches how they raise their children and how they interact. And then she comes back with a plan of action to help the family become a better cohesive unit. Okay, so that's kind of what a real estate coach does as well. He comes in and he looks at your business and analyzes everything, and then comes back and helps you build a plan to have a more cohesive business. So you're going to have chaos, right? It's just part of the progression of building a real estate career, right? You start off slow, then all of a sudden you have multiple clients. Oh, I can tell you another story. When I was a fairly new realtor, my husband decided to take time off, and he went to Florida with the group of men to go golfing and left me with his business. Okay, so I was a fairly new realtor taking over the business of someone who was in like the top 10% of realtors in the city, right? I was so overwhelmed. There was so much chaos. I was up early in the morning, up till 11 o'clock at night, and I was like, I can't do this. How do you do this? Right? So learning how to navigate the chaos is part of real estate. It happens to everyone at some point in their career, and it's okay, right? It's you just have to take a breath and either go to your broker or to your coach, and they can help you navigate through that. So yeah, it's fun. What else? Challenges. Rejection. Rejection can be a really big challenge for some people, right? Not everyone that you meet is going to want to work with you. And you know what? That's okay. One of the things I teach our agents in our office, it's our favorite four-letter word. I don't know, Elizabeth, if you've heard it before, but it's next. Okay? N-E-X-T, next. There's always another client, there's always another house, so don't tie all your emotion into one person or one party, right? Because there is going to be rejection, there will be disappointment. I mean, man, I remember when I was a new agent, I'd come back into the office some days almost crying, right? Because things didn't go the way I wanted, I lost deals, I lost clients, and it was, it's very emotional, very chaotic, it can be at times. And that's okay, right? It's part of the journey. And like I say, it's so much fun to be involved in real estate. It's such a rewarding career because you can help people. Like you get to help people with the biggest purchase or transaction of their lives. And so often you will build really good friendships with your clients. right? Because they're so grateful and thankful that you've been there to help them. Any other challenges? I don't know, like there's, you have to learn how to price property and understand the market. So those are challenges, things that you have to learn as you go. But I think that's it.
Okay, thank you for diving into that question and analyzing it, even connecting with your own personal experience. Now I
Yeah.
want to ask another question. Between a real estate coach and a mentor, which is needed to be able to guide a new agent that is in the industry, for them not to make mistake, or why they make mistake, they have someone to watch their back and help them come back to the right track?
Yeah. So in each brokerage, it depends on the language that they use. Okay. So for example, in our brokerage, we have a productivity coach, right, who speaks with our agents every morning that want to be coached and helps them navigate their career, how to handle objections, how to find clients, helps them build their business. Then when you run into the nitty gritty, you've written an offer or you're in a live transaction, that's when you need a mentor. And in our brokerage, the mentor is me, right? So as the broker, I step in and I'm there for the agents and they call and I walk them through and navigate through things. Then I may assign them to another agent to learn how to do different things, like how to measure a house or do an open house, that kind of thing. So it really depends on the language of each brokerage. When you take your real estate course, they will talk about mentors. And I would just like to let you all know that a mentor slash coach is almost the same thing, right? So when you go to a brokerage and they're like, yes, we have a mentor system, you need to ask a few more questions, because what does that look like, right? Every brokerage will say, yes, we have a mentor program, but what does it look like? And is it going to meet the needs that I'm going to have?
Thank you. Now, for beginners, what advice would you give to someone who want to start a career in real estate today?
So anyone that comes to my office that interviews us and asks that very question, right? I'm thinking about getting into real estate. What do I need to do? I tell them the very first thing you need to do is create a list of names of people that you know. Names, phone numbers, email addresses. Every single person that knows you by name. Because that is where your first transactions are going to come from. Either from those people or from people that they know. So if you're getting into real estate while you're studying the course, even every time you meet somebody, you need to get their contact information and begin to make a list of names, because that's where you start. Absolutely.
What does long-term success look like? Long-term success, because I know there are some people that, okay, they just started it as, let me just see what is going to look like. At some point, they start to feel like, can I do this or can I not do that? That kind of a thing. So what does from your own experience, because you've had years of experience, starting from 2018, what does long-term success for a new agent, what are you going to tell a new agent for long-term success?
So again, it comes down to what your goals are. So one of the things we help our agents with is setting goals, right? So how much income do you want to earn in the year, right? So we break it down to what are your expenses, what it costs you to live every month, what the average commission is, how many transactions do you need to complete in that year time for you to consider it a successful year. Because success, again, is it's the definition of success will be different for each person, right? I might think success is earning $1 million in real estate, right? But someone else may come in and say, no, I need to earn 100,000 and then I'm very successful. Okay. So it depends on each agent's goal, what success is. But for me, for long-term success, for me personally, it means being able to walk away at the end of the year with a profit. Okay, this is where business comes in, right? You should know what your profit is every year. And if you're in business and not earning profit, then what are you doing, right? You need to be earning profit. So after all your expenses are paid, your family's taken care of, maybe you've donated to charitable organizations. After all of that, your success is determined by the amount of profit you have at the end of the year. So for long-term success, every year you should be earning profit and increasing. Like we set budgets every year, and every year increase the budget by 10 or 20%, right? So you're growing every year. You're increasing the business that you're doing. And there's lots of different ways to do that. It doesn't mean you yourself have to be busier. At Keller Williams, we teach something called leverage, right? So once you've been in business and long enough that you understand the business, then you're going to begin looking at leverage. Okay, how can I leverage other people to grow my business? So that might look like, let's grow a team. I'll bring in a buyer's agent, right? And they're going to take care of the buyers. I will take care of listings. I'll bring in an administrative assistant. That was one of the first things that my husband and I did after we hired a coach is we looked at our numbers, our finances, and I think it took about 6 months to convince me to do it. But every call, the coach would be, if you had an administrative assistant answering your phone for you, how much time would that free you up every day? So we'd sit down and we'd add up the time and do the math. And after about 6 months, he convinced me, okay, you're right, we need to hire an administrative assistant. So that was our first hire, right? So then anytime we had a piece of paper, like we signed a listing contract, we gave the paper to her and she took care of it. She's the admin. She does all the paperwork. Anytime we had a buyer, we wrote an offer for the buyer, we'd give her the paperwork and she took care of it, right? So that's called leverage. And then over time, we began to let her take our phone. Okay, now you answer the phone and you set the appointments for us. Now we're just going on appointments, right? So now we've taken away our paperwork, taken away having to answer the phone. Now we're just going on appointments. And the more you can go on appointments, the more income you can earn. So success is different for every person. It really depends on what your personal financial goals are. And a good brokerage can help you navigate that and set the plan and help you get there.
I actually love the way you explain the administrative aspect.
Yeah,
Starting from scratch and growing, hiring someone. How will I put it? Portioning responsibility to everyone.
yeah,
And that way it helps a real estate agent to be able to stay focused in the field, especially with handling clients, getting that deal that they want, closing those deals. Now,
absolutely.
coming back to the field, what would you advise a real estate agent when they're dealing with difficult clients? Because, like you said, we meet different personalities as realtors, right? So when you meet those difficult ones, those challenging ones,
Oh, difficult clients are very, very hard. And again, it comes down to your personality style. So I always really struggled with difficult clients, right? I tend to be more of an amiable personality. So when I come up against a hard personality, I would struggle. What I can tell you is, as a real estate agent, you can fire clients. You're allowed.
really?
Yes. You do
Oh,
not have to work with everyone that comes across your path. And sometimes the best thing you can do for your mental health is to tell a client, we're not a good fit. Here's the name of another realtor that you should work with. Okay? I have had to do that multiple times in my career. And there is nothing wrong with that, right? It's a really hard thing to do as a realtor though, because we want to help everyone, right? So we're there, we want to be kind and we want to be helpful and we want to make sure you get the best deal and you get the best service. But sometimes you're going to find people that you're going to butt heads with. And well, look at it when you're dating, right? If you're dating someone and you're butting heads with them, you're not going to continue to date them, right? So same thing in real estate. If you've got a really difficult client, there's nothing wrong with walking away. And there's also nothing wrong with referring them to another agent who is better suited to that personality style. Because you will run into things. I mean, you'll one thing that I ran into is the male female dynamic, right? So I had a male who did not really want to work with a female, right? So as soon as I recognized that, I referred them to a male agent. Then everybody was happy, right? You may run into cultural differences, right? Where they don't want to work with you because you're not the same culture or because you're not the same religion. Like you'll run into things like that, and it's okay, right? We in real estate we have a very large connection of real estate agents and we work cooperatively, so you can always refer to other people. So yeah, difficult clients can be hard. I've had clients make me cry multiple times in my career. And again, that's okay, right? It's part of the growing process. Yeah.
Hey, wow, this is really, really interesting. Taking us back to the field, the journey, and all of all that stuff. I don't know if any of our listeners have any question to ask. They can just, throw in their questions and connect with our speaker. Otherwise, we are coming to the end of the podcast for today. So I will give like few minutes to see if anyone have a question to
Yeah, so
ask.
while they're getting ready for questions, if anyone decides they want to into real estate and have a career for real estate, all you have to do is Google Manitoba Real Estate Association, and the education courses are right there. You just go to education, you fill out a form, and then you start studying. And then find a good brokerage and a good realtor like Elizabeth, and she can maybe even help you study one day.
Yeah, and like I started the real estate career, I only went straight to Keller Williams. I Googled, I asked question from a friend who is a mortgage person. And she was like, go to Keller Williams. Because I have been looking for how would I be able to go into the career. I couldn't. So until she pointed me that direction, then I was able to get all the support, and that was how I launched in. And so far it's been an amazing journey working with Keller Williams as an independent real estate agent. So
Yeah. It's a
I
lot
don't
of
know.
fun. I encourage people to get into real estate.
Yeah,
It's fun. Yeah, it's a very
it is
rewarding career.
actually fun.
Yeah.
One thing I know is it may start like you are struggling, but eventually,
Yeah.
at some point,
Yeah.
you will start closing those deals.
Yeah.
In as much as you know what you are doing, you are getting engaged into the process because it's all about the process.
It
And you are
really
learning.
is, Elizabeth. That's a good word. It's about the process.
Yes,
I would
yes,
always tell new realtors, real estate is like a great big boulder, right? A big rock. Like it's so big, you have so much to learn, and you're pushing against this rock trying to make it move, and you can barely make it budge. But once it starts moving, right, then you have perpetual motion and it begins to roll. And before you know it, that boulder's rolling along and your business is succeeding. So it's just the very beginning. It can be very difficult and very challenging. It's where you need positive people beside you supporting you. One more thing is really important is your family supports you. Because you're going to have to put in a lot of time and a lot of hours at the very beginning, right? Before you get into time management and learning how to control your time, your time is going to be consumed with real estate. So you need a good, strong family behind you who's willing to support that.
awesome. So I don't know if we'll still have anyone that wants to maybe interact with Tessie, talk to Tessie. But okay,
Hello. Sorry, I have a toddler here, so please pardon the interruption. Good evening. My name is Timmy. Thank you so much, Tessie and Elizabeth, for putting this together. I've actually learned a lot because most of what Tessie was speaking about, I realized that it even applies to the job I do right now. As a salesperson, saying it's okay to know that you don't have to work with everybody. You could even fire your clients.
Yes. So many people don't realize that you can fire a client if you can't work with them. It's
I
okay.
didn't think that was a possibility. I mean, it's not something to do like with a gesture of anger or anything, but just for your own sanity. Because truthfully, by what you have said, I'm learning that I have to personally also try to start learning more about personalities, like to see, oh, at this point this is who I'm dealing with, oh, that's who I'm dealing with, so I need to know what strategy to adopt in the course of our conversation. So that has really helped me. It's something very profound that I took out of it. And you were also very open with your experience, like you were quite vulnerable too, so it makes it more relatable. I'm still a newbie. I just met Elizabeth a few days ago at a conference, and she invited me for this podcast. I'm just in the process of taking my examination, so we'll see how the journey goes. I'm looking forward to a really good experience as you've narrated. But I have a question too.
Yeah.
So talking about Keller Williams, you mentioned the franchise. Does that mean the one you run is just exclusive to you and not every other Keller Williams around the city? Because I'm guessing there's more than one, or is there
No,
just one?
we have one brokerage in the city, so we have the
Okay,
franchise rights for Winnipeg. So
okay,
there's just the one office here right now.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. That's good to know.
So
But thank
you're
you.
writing your exam in real estate right now?
I'm just studying the course. I just signed up last month, so I
Okay,
just
module
started
one.
studying.
Perfect. Yeah. Module one's the hardest, everybody. If you can get past that, you're golden.
Oh, is that so?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Wow.
and also, if you don't pass the first time, that's okay. It
Mm-hmm,
doesn't matter. You go back, you study, and do it again. Nobody cares. Nobody looks at your
mm-hmm,
marks. You don't have to have high marks. You just need to
mm-hmm.
pass. Okay? So don't put so much pressure on yourself. It's a little different than going to university or high school, right? Yeah. Your mark doesn't matter. Just pass.
Okay. Okay, that's
Yeah.
really good to know. Thank you. Thank you
You're
so
very
much,
welcome.
Tessie.
Now you're making me remember one scenario that happened between me and a client last year. I think you are aware of that situation. I was dealing with a client who came from the United States. I think Tony was also guiding me with that particular deal. After we went through every single part of that client's profile, we now discovered that the client doesn't even have a Canadian status.
Right.
So immediately Tony just before we even got there, Tony already sensed something was wrong with the client. Tony was like, you know what, Elizabeth, let this person go. So now I come to see why he was giving me that picture of you can fire a client, but do it nicely.
Nicely. That's right. When I say fire a client, I mean that's our language, right? But you do it
Yes.
in a respectful manner for sure.
Yes. Anyways, thank you so much for this wonderful time tonight and educating us on real estate career, how to journey into it. We might still invite you again
Oh,
at some
absolutely. I would
point.
love to share my journey and stories. It's not a problem.
The podcast is just starting and people are still getting to, be aware of the podcast. So maybe the short clips they will get to hear and they want to come in more. So thank you so much, everyone who also joined the podcast. So have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And if you have any question, you can call me or call Tessie to get to Keller Williams in terms of real estate and get the proper guide. Don't let pressure or fear get into you as
Yeah.
you want to get your license
That's
as
a
a real
story for
estate.
another podcast is about fear.
Yes,
Fear is a
yes,
liar, everyone. So when you
yes,
experience fear, recognize it's a liar.
PT, don't
Okay?
yes,
That's a whole nother topic. That's an awesome idea.
yes. All right.
All
Thank you
right.
so
Well,
much,
thanks so much
everyone.
for having me, Elizabeth.
Have a
Thank you,
wonderful
Tessie. Thank you,
night.
Elizabeth. Thank
You.
you so
Yes.
much. Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye.